Welcome back to Gold Derby. I'm Christopher Rosen. I'm joined by Joyce Ng. Joyce, I have a sound effect. Let's see. Did that work?
No.
Damn. The
I
Oscar
also like
shortlist.
that you just play that on YouTube on your phone.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Like didn't even download an app or anything.
oh, the highest of quality tech stuff for us. Joyce, the Oscar shortlists are here and early. We were expecting this much later.
This is earlier than the past couple years.
2
Yeah.
p.m. Eastern sent
Yeah.
out.
I've barely had time to peruse them. So these are like quite live thoughts.
This is like the hottest of hot takes. The live, we're just doing it live. Uh
Uh yeah.
Top level, Joyce. It looked like I'm doing math here, so
Mhm.
we already know this is tough.
Because
But
you
I
can't
got
count.
Barbie with 5 mentions.
But a lot
Score,
of them are just in one category.
score, sound, 3 songs. The 3 songs we expected that they're campaigning. No hair and makeup though for Barbie.
No. That was the we can get into it later, but makeup and hair, they chose violence, that branch.
They did. I'm
Yeah.
here for it. I'm here for it. Flower Moon, Kills the Flower Moon. You might have heard of it. 4 mentions. Hair, makeup, sound, score, and song. No visual effects.
And another four-time mention. It's not nominee. What do you call them?
Mentions is good.
Yeah. Society of the Snow.
Yes. I thought maybe we get 5, but it got to pull the all quiet, we call that in the biz, I think. But it got
Yeah.
4.
In Miss
Score,
Sound.
Miss Sound. Score, international feature, hair, makeup, and visual effects. And then a bunch of movies with 3 that I haven't all counted them all up, but I know Oppenheimer had 3: sound, score, hair, and makeup. No visual effects, which we knew already because it was reported that it missed. The Zone of Interest getting its expected 3: score, sound, and international feature. And The Color Purple also had 3: score and 2 songs. But The Color Purple missed sound for musical. That's a tough beat. And hair and makeup.
For a lot of aging.
Another tough beat.
Yeah. Another triple mention, Napoleon. You know how much I enjoy Napoleon.
Yes.
Makeup and hair, sound, and visual effects.
But not score. It's funny how every one of these like missing one that I thought I could have gotten, right? Like I'm just
There
like,
are
oh,
a lot like film Twitter very upset over past lives also missing score.
and sound,
Hmm.
but it gets in for original song. Uh Nothing here has made me think rethink anything in my best picture picks. Last year when we did this, it was like, man, All Quiet on Western Front is like seriously getting in. I felt like, and Black Panther had also had 5 last year, and it was like, oh shit, maybe that actually is gonna happen, and it didn't.
Did you end up, I mean, I did you put Black Panther in
I don't think I ever
after?
put Black Panther in ever, but I definitely
Yeah,
put All
because I
Quiet.
never had it in because it was
No,
just like it was just like craft stuff.
yeah,
But yeah, All Quiet was just surging
yes,
quietly and then loudly.
yes. Uh,
And then like this year people were like what's going to be the All Quiet and pegged Society of the Snow and maybe
I think it kind of is, but I don't think it's getting in for feature
Picture.
picture. But I think it would get
You
an
don't think it's going to
international
sweep the
feature.
BAFTAs?
No, I think it could. I mean, I definitely would predict it for best international feature. I think visual effects. I've had it in. I think uh hair and makeup could definitely get in too, and score maybe, but score remains incredibly competitive even with so
Yeah.
many misses.
Yeah.
So that would be
Um
4
and
nominations.
also this year Best Picture is a bit more packed than last year, even if we can't quite it's kind of it's the same but not, like last year we were also trying to figure out the bottom couple slots and here too, but I think the competition level is different.
So if whatever, if these things had been different, maybe I would have had a different take. But I'm like, I was expecting maybe Color Purple to do pretty well with like 4 or 5 mentions, and maybe I'm like throwing it back into Best Picture. But with 3 mentions, 2 for song, not doing that, unfortunately. And then Zone of Interest, which I have in there, I was like, okay, we'll see. It got the 3 that I think it needed to get, and it just shows that it remains like a very strong option
And
for
you
that
know
10
what? I
slot.
was already predicting Zone in score and sound.
Yes, same. I think I have them still in sound and score. Oh no, I might have taken it out for Boy and the Heron in score. I might do that.
And that made score.
So that made score, and I think that's definitely up there. But
Yeah.
I think for me to put Boy and the Heron in, I have to drop Spider-Verse, which I don't want to do. The other three scores that I think are pretty locked are Oppenheimer, Flower Moon, and Poor Things, all of which made the list.
I haven't updated anything, and I know you have because you're like that.
Well, I only updated because I took out
You took out the things that missed.
yes, like Barbie was a big miss. Everybody, according to our odds, Barbie was like second place for hair and makeup, and now it's not nominated. It's like Oppenheimer was in first place for visual effects, and now it's not nominated at all. So, yeah, and Guardians also missed hair and makeup. The top five in the
Yeah, rough.
odds before this were Maestro, Barbie, Poor Things, Guardians, and Oppenheimer. And then the Color
And I
Purple
talked to
sixth,
the Guardians team. Did I curse them?
Color Purple sixth, and Naiad seventh, Priscilla eighth, and Wonka ninth. Not a single one of those made the list. So
Priscilla missing hair and makeup, like,
did I miss that? Did Wonka make the list? No. Did it? No, it didn't even make it. So like literally the top 10 in the odds, the only three of the top 10 that are actually eligible are Maestro, Poor Things, and Oppenheimer. So congratulations to Kills the Flower Moon, which I immediately put in because it seems like likely it would get in. And Society of the Snow, I also put in.
but you know what else made makeup and hair?
What?
Golda.
Mm-hmm.
Helen Mirren rises.
I know some people at Bleecker Street, and they were very much like Golda, and that makeup could make it in. Maybe it could.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that we just have, like a lone makeup contender.
Another
That
big
happens
miss here
sometimes.
was we mentioned there in going through the many misses was Naiad, which I feel like is that's a bad sign, I think, Joyce.
Yeah, Naiad has great makeup
Yes.
and hair.
Yes.
Like just the waterlogged skin and everything and the
It's
tanning,
incredible.
not tanning, but like sun-drenched skin,
Yeah.
sunburned.
Yeah, sure.
And yeah, not here in makeup and hair. And I had it in makeup and hair.
And not score for Alexander Desplat's great score. I think it
But you
was
know what I've said before, that he usually gets in, but I meant like nomination wise, like when he has a strong film. So
and
this time
so
he didn't even make the short list.
that doesn't mean anything in terms of like the actors still not want, you know what I mean? Like that doesn't affect like Annette Bening or Jodie Foster, let's say. But I'm like the movie has not been very strong.
Well, I mean, I guess if you had Naiad in Best Picture, like not great, Bob, but I didn't have Naiad in Best
No.
Picture. And I've already taken Annette out. I still have Jodie Foster in Supporting Actress though,
Same, but I might drop Jodie Foster too
because of
before
this.
not because of this, but we'll talk about it. I guess we'll talk about it next week in our column because we're banking columns, Joyce. But uh, yeah, I don't know. A wild category. I guess I was surprised. The funny thing about Kills the Flower Moon, which I think has great makeup, but I think a lot of people it's funny that it didn't get in for visual effects too on the short list because there's so much visual effects work in that movie that
Mhm.
you don't even realize. I talked to the guy. I talked to Pablo Hellman, so like obviously I'm in the tank, but like there's like 90 minutes of visual effects work in that movie, including simple things like the scene where is it Sturgill Simpson who plays the guy who De Niro and they go to meet him at his like little place with like all like the moonshiners and stuff. Is that Sturgill?
Sure. I don't know. I saw it 6 months ago.
Let me look. Yeah,
You've seen it 3 times,
I
so
have, and it
you
is
should
that
know.
guy. And there's a scene where he gets this is a spoiler alert for Flower Moon. Uh, this character ends up getting shot at one point, and is like, remember the car is driving
Yes.
and it slams into like a tree, like it's a great Scorsese
Yes.
shot, and Pablo Helman was like, in that scene, they cut to the Sturgill, however you say his name. Not a country music fan, Joyce. So, and I am also an idiot, so it's tough to get the names right. And he's in the car, and he's wearing like a cowboy hat, and he's like bleeding, and he dies, right? Like whatever. And apparently, like in the way it was shot, there was no cowboy hat at all. And they were like, the audience actually doesn't know who this is because the scene is so quick. So we need to like make sure he has his cowboy hat on, and we're going to visual effects it in because that's how we've seen him previously. And I've seen it 3 times. It's incredibly seamless. You cannot tell at all that it's like a visual effect
That it's a
on his
fake
head.
hat.
Yeah. And I'm like, that's like the whole movie. So I was like surprised that that did not get in, but it gets in for hair and makeup, which I'm wondering like how much did they realize how much visual
Well, I
effects
guess
would
it's
get in?
also like it's just you explaining it. I don't think people realize that that was a visual effect shot. It's just a guy in a hat. It's so
But
simple.
I guess they're also doing, are they for are they doing sizzle reels or something for like the Bake Off? Like I guess they maybe are explaining it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yes, like they're like you know, like there's been panels and everything,
Right.
and
I hosted them
obviously, yeah.
with
So, but
many of these people.
it's like I think it's just, they tend to like go away from like the simplistic stuff
Yeah.
and also practical stuff, as we know with Oppie
Yes.
too. So, but like this, like the whole visual effects short list is the creator, Godzilla minus one, great pick.
I have that in there winning.
Yeah.
P.S. Did you see that, Joyce? Did you actually go?
Guardians,
Did you go to the theaters to see Godzilla yet?
yes,
It's great.
great, yeah. Guardians, who I also talked to, the visual
Yes.
effects team, great.
Yes.
Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, maybe kind of questionable, but
Two mentions though, because it's also
yeah,
still there for score for our
and
boy
I've had
Johnny
it in score.
Will.
Mission Impossible, your fave.
I interviewed this man, and he is a genius. This visual effects supervisor. Hell yeah, it's great, incredible work. The whole thing. I was way in.
As we said, Napoleon,
Great pick. Really good
yes.
visual effects in Napoleon, I would say.
Poor Things,
Great pick.
Rebel Moon.
Have you seen that one yet, Joyce?
I have not. No,
Not entering the Snyderverse just yet.
no, no.
Did you see
Um,
Aquaman last night?
I am not gonna see Aquaman. Sorry to Aquaman. Sorry
Uh,
to Jason Momoa.
yeah, probably a good
Uh,
idea.
Society of the Snow and Spider-Verse.
Yes.
Spider-Verse animated visual effects.
I have so based on this, I have I gotta find it. Godzilla minus one just winning. Just straight up. I'm putting it right at the top. I don't think it's gonna happen, but I don't give a shit. Society of Snow, which has unbelievable visual effects. It's a terrifying visual effects for that movie. Just almost borderline unwatchable. The plane crash recreation is so unbelievable. I put Spider-Verse in, and then I have the creator and Poor Things.
I had um Dungeons and Dragons, which did not make it. So I have to
Yes.
get rid of that. But as I've mentioned before somewhere at one point, I had Poor Things in first,
Yeah.
just because it's the most Best Picture adjacent film.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. I don't. Guardians is first in the odds. I don't even have it getting in. I could just see it missing personally.
I think it'll get in, but I don't think it will win.
Do you think it'll change now? Like, do you think it'll stay first in the odds by the time we get to picks? Like final
For
picks?
nominations, I mean, I
Yeah.
don't think it matters for nominations.
I know, but
The
I feel like an
creator,
idiot for not even having it in. But I'm like, I don't know if it'll get in. I don't know if
I think I'll get in.
it's got good effects, certainly. But I'm
So, and it's like it's the only. I mean, like if you're not counting like Spider-Verse, it's the only, like superhero
yeah,
movie
sure.
here. So we usually have, multiple MCU films.
Yeah, not this year. I wonder
Yeah.
why. Uh,
Um, but yeah, that's visual effects.
we love the music side of things, Joyce.
Um,
Some big misses, I'd say, in song.
well, I currently have Wish in song, and I gotta get rid of it.
Bad news for you, Bob Iger, and my daughter, who loves the music from Wish.
But not
It's
the film.
not the film, but the music. Not on the short list at all. This Wish did not make it in. Sorry to that man. The man being Bob Iger, I guess.
But you know who did make it? Our girl, Diane Warren.
I got her locked in third place behind the two
Flamin'
Barbie
Hot.
songs.
No 80 for Brady, that's fine. Just one song, all the support can go there.
So I had previously moved American Symphony in there. It never went away, and I feel more emboldened having seen it on the short list here. And so I have it still in.
Well, why don't you read all the songs?
So the songs will be It Never Went Away from American Symphony, Dear Alien, Who Art in Heaven from Asteroid City, an inspired pick for some, Dance the Night, I'm Just Ken, and What Was I Made For from Barbie, the two Color Purple songs, Keep It Moving, and Superpower 1. which is not the that's not the Corey Hawkins song, is it? It must be a credit song, I bet, right?
I don't think so, but
I'm Googling this quickly. Yeah, that's a Fantasia, I think
yeah.
a Fantasia song that's over the credits. The Fire Inside from Flamin' Hot, High Life, and Meet in the Middle from Flora and Son. John Carney's movie, pretty okay. The music is great. Meet in the Middle rules. I'd love that song. It would be great if it gets in. I don't
He'd
think
be
it will.
nominated because he wrote them.
My favorite, obviously, Can't Catch Me Now from the Hunger Games, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, Olivia Rodrigo, doing what Taylor Swift previously could not, making the short list.
I haven't heard that song in full. I've only heard that snippet in the ads. So
I
what
listened to
if
it.
this is my new No Time to Die and I just never hear the song?
It could be. I actually think she can get nominated. The song is great, and I think people really obviously like Olivia Rodrigo. Joyce, I don't know if you know this. A Song for My People from Killers of the Flower Moon. I will not say the Osage name to risk to stop from myself from embarrassing myself. Quiet Eyes from Past Lives. Road to Freedom from Rustin. And Am I Dreaming from Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
So you can only get 2 noms per film. So you can't have triple Barbie here.
No. I have the
So
double Barbie. I have What Was I Made For, and I'm Just Ken. And then Diane
yeah.
Warren. And then I had American Symphony. I'm keeping that. American Symphony also had 3 mentions: song, score, and documentary. And
I
I
could
feel
also
like
see a winning doc.
I could see a winning doc. I could see it getting in score and also here. I think it could actually get in
I'm gonna put
score.
it in place of my Wish slot.
So I definitely think it'll get in. I know people love this movie, and it's available on Netflix, so it'll be
Yeah.
widely seen.
It's a tearjerker. You want to
Yeah.
cry over the holidays.
And you know who people love? John Baptiste.
Album of the year winner. He can win more Grammys.
An
And
Oscar
another
winner.
Oscar.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I really think he's like, I feel like this is like all in. And then I put Hunger Games, Ballad, Songbirds, and Snakes in.
So
But
you got rid of Color Purple.
well, I actually had never had it in. I had Rust and Road to Freedom in, the Lenny Kravitz song.
Oh, I never had that.
It's in third place in the odds. Obviously did well here, make the short list, but I just am like not sure if it'll a credit song. Not the hunger. I mean, I don't know. It
I
could
feel
easily
like
get in.
if we agree on the double Barbie, Flamin' Hot, and American Symphony, then like we could have a surprise in the 5th slot.
Yeah, which could be fun. The other big miss here, do we mention Peaches was a miss as well
Yeah,
from
people are
Super
upset about
Mario?
that, but I'm not really surprised it missed.
I'm not either because it's like a goof song, but I'll tell you
Yes.
who is all over the place campaigning is Mr. Jack Black.
You know what? You got to get it in before the short list is announced when you're kind of borderline. So
I'm proud of him for campaigning. It was a great
yeah.
attempt. It definitely hurts my idea that Mario would even sniff the animated feature race. So, did it even make the list? No, it's only animated short. Never mind. The other movie that missed was Iron Claw here, which has an original song that I really loved.
I think that movie is just kind of too late and too small.
Yeah, Live That Way Forever is the song. Great song. What else missed? I think there's a song in Naiad that missed, obviously. Original
Yes.
song. Linda Perry, I believe, right?
Hmm.
You mentioned 80 for Ready. No, not a single song from Wonka. Not a single
Unfortunate.
song from The Little Mermaid. Sorry to Halle Bailey.
But you know what? She has Keep It Moving.
She does have to keep it moving. I'm a little surprised Wonka didn't make anything in. Theater Camp was another one people really wanted to see. Camp Isn't Home. A catchy jingle.
Yeah.
Catchy tune. Burying the Lead, perhaps, at least for Shar in the comments. Better Place from Trolls Band Together. Out.
Yeah, sorry to NSYNC.
We pre-taped our mailbag episode, Joyce, which is coming
And that was
next
the
week.
very first question.
That was the very first question. So already it's stale. But
So
neither
next
one
week
of
you
us,
just skip that part. It's the very first question.
but neither one of us expected it to get in.
Yeah.
So that was fine. So we were right. Good job, past selves.
Yeah.
Other ones I was like maybe a little surprised. I Am from Origin. They were definitely promoting that one heavily, but it missed. Steal the Show from Elemental is actually a really catchy song and it's used really well in the movie. But no, missed.
They're just like off of Disney.
They really were. No Disney. I mean, like nothing here. What else am I looking for? Yeah, I mean that's like there's a lot. All those Disney ones. I'm just looking through our odds. And do you think the Flower Moon song makes it in?
Um, I'm gonna say no right now.
It could though. With that, like you said, I think the five feel like to me like they're the four.
But I think like it's I don't think it's the same as like Everything Everywhere,
No.
you know.
Do you think Christopher Nolan's like, damn it, we should have just done like a "I'm Oppie, here I am" kind of song at the end?
He doesn't give a shit. He's like, what are
Okay.
shortlists?
Do we do score yet?
No.
Okay. Score, which is our fave usually. American Fiction makes it in. Love that score.
Very jazzy.
Yeah, Laura Cartman. Just awesome. Very good score. American Symphony, which bodes well for I think it getting in and or definitely winning documentary feature, which I would have it in there anyway in first. But there you go. Barbie made it in here, which I love because I think that Barbie score is crazy underrated because people are so focused on the songs they don't think about the score.
Yeah, but like they're rightfully focused on the songs, and then it's kind of like subliminal because it's so similar, and then
Yeah,
it's like bleeding in and out
right.
of the songs. So
The Boy and the Heron, which has become a very popular pick on the film Twitters. David Ehrlich is like leading the charge for that score.
it's a great score.
The Color Purple here, that's I think positive. It's good for the movie. Get
Yes.
it here. Elemental with Thomas Newman going for another Oscar non-win. The Holdovers, which has a great score, very much like a 70s rock score that I thought was like really good. This week, Joyce, I did trivia at Nighthawk Cinema in Brooklyn.
Oh, and how did you do?
We won, my team.
Oh,
It's
congratulations.
not just because of me.
But what did you contribute?
Well, one of these the score category I did okay on because I knew the score from Bottoms, which did not make the short list here, but is awesome. And I was like, that's Bottoms because I've listened to it 300,000 times.
Wait, so it was audio?
It was an audio round where they played snippets of 2023 scores. And so then the Holdovers one is a movie I've only seen once. I should see it again. And I haven't listened to the score, but when it came on, I was like, it sounded like a 70s classic rock song. And I was like, that's obviously the Holdovers.
Yeah.
And it was. And I'm like, it's a great score. I've been listening to it. I'm like, that's a great score. So I'm glad it made it. That's the story. That's the anecdote. Uh Indiana Jones and Dial of Destiny, congratulations.
John Williams.
Flower
Another one?
Moon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things, all expected nominees. Anthony Willis is from Saltburn. Love seeing that. Great score. Society of the Snow, Spider-Verse, and The Zone of Interest.
The tough field.
Really tough.
And yeah, like we mentioned, No Past Lives.
No Past Lives. The top, I'm looking at the odds here. Naiad, so the top, I'll just read through. The top five in the odds still were Oppenheimer, Flower Moon, Poor Things, Spider-Verse, and Zone of Interest. That's the five I have still. But I really want to put Boy and the Heron in, so I have to figure out how to drop one of these. The next five were Elemental, Color Purple, Society of Snow, and Indiana Jones, and The Boy and the Heron. So now we're good. The top 10 made it in on the short list. Then Past Lives. Then Barbie makes it in, American Fiction. And then after that, Naiad and Ferrari, neither of which made it. Saltburn, The Killer, which would have been fun, but no.
Yeah, but you know what? The Killer did make sound, and I can see it being nominated, and I want it to be nominated.
So I have it in sound also. So that's good. I want to put Ferrari and The Killer in sound, but I don't know how I could get them in with Zone of Interest in there also. So I'll just keep The Killer in there in fifth, instead of Ferrari. Yeah, I don't know. This is again, like it feels like very top heavy for Best Picture contenders, but I guess we don't. You like? Would it surprise you if Barbie got in here?
For score?
Yeah.
No,
No, right? Like,
because like it's just that's like like a value add nomination for it if it's like really really big with the Academy. I still have Indiana Jones in there in my fifth slot, which like they could also be really lazy sometimes.
they could. But that's why I'm going to put Barbie and Boy and the Heron in, and I'm dropping Spider-Verse and Zone of Interest. How about that? I'm just going to do that now on the
I
fly.
have Zone in. I have Zone, so
I think Zone could make it in, certainly, but I'm going to drop it. And then I'm going to say also American Symphony can make it in. Um, we mentioned hair and makeup, but here's the full list of that. Beau is Afraid making it in. Congratulations to all the Beau is Afraid heads. Ferrari, Golda, Killers of Flower Moon. This one I loved. The Last Voyage of the Demeter.
great. Imagine if that got nominated.
That might get nominated. That would be the Suicide Squad of this year, let's say, right? Like,
It'll always be known as an Academy Award nominee.
I would love that. I would love that for this movie. Corey Hawkins in 2 Academy Award nominees this year, Color Purple and The Last Voyage of Demeter.
Iconic.
Maestro, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and The Society of Snow.
Um, yeah. So, what did we already mention? No Naiad, no Guardians, no Barbie, no Priscilla.
Right.
Yeah,
No Wonka.
yeah.
I'll tell you
Um,
this. I know it does no bearing on anything, but I was bullish on Wonka. And certainly in like production design, I thought I could get in, but now I'm like, maybe
yeah,
not.
but it's a different
Different,
branch.
it's a different
It's
branch.
a
I
different
know.
branch,
It's a
and
different branch.
they
I
don't
know.
like production design doesn't have a short list. Costume design have a
I
short
know. I
list.
know. But I'm just saying, like,
Um,
not great. Not great, Bob.
yeah. So Barbie was second in the odds. I did not have Barbie getting in here.
Wow.
Yeah, I had Maestro, Poor Things, Guardians, Naiad, and Oppenheimer.
So what are you gonna have now?
I had to get rid of Naiad, so I don't know because I can't put in Barbie, and then in sixth in the odds is the color purple, and I can't do that either.
So I
And
went
then after that is Priscilla, and I can't do that either.
I went Maestro, Poor Things,
Waka,
Oppenheimer,
no.
Flower Moon, I did, and Society of Snow. Um,
Yeah, I could do Society, I guess. I don't know. It's yeah. So bye Naiad. Sorry. We hardly knew ye.
did we do
Uh,
sound yet? No. We mentioned sound with Killer.
yes.
Sounds were Barbie, the creator, Ferrari, Killer, Flower Moon, Maestro, Dead Reckoning, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, and the Zone of Interest. Pretty expected there. No Color Purple, which is a tough beat. And then we haven't done these yet. I don't even know. I mean, can we even predict them yet? I don't think we can't predict doc. We will now, I guess, because they'll be
they're not
added.
there yet. We can't do it.
But
So,
for can't do it
but
yet. So we're not derelict on this. But documentary, the list here now was American Symphony, which, like you said, I think can win just straight up. Apollonia, Beyond Utopia, which I know people were excited about making. Bobby Wine, The People's President, Desperate Souls, Dark City, and The Legend of Midnight Cowboy. Funny story about this movie, Joyce. I saw it at the last day of the 2022 Telluride Film Festival
wow.
in a small room, not much bigger than this room I'm in right now. And it's all about what it says, The Midnight Cowboy, and it's actually really a compelling film. I thought it was like pretty good.
So are you gonna predict it?
I will actually, probably, maybe. The Eternal Memory, Four Daughters, Going to Mars, the Nikki Giovanni project, In the Rear View, Stamped from the Beginning, still a Michael J. Fox movie, A Still Small Voice, 32 Sounds, To Kill a Tiger, and 20 Days in Maripol.
Yeah. Um, do you think still will make it?
I'd say no, because this is a pretty severe branch usually, and that type of movie doesn't usually make it, right? Like Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. You know what I mean? Like they're not always up for like these heartwarming documentaries about real people.
It's
But I think
also an
American
Emmy
Symphony might win.
nominee. It's double dipping because they changed the rules again.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it'll be widely predicted and it's been very promoted.
Mhm.
But I'm not sure it'll make it in based on past history.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I think if it does make it, I would still favor American Symphony over it. I don't know. I don't know how much, like, obviously people love Michael J. Fox.
Right.
And with everyone voting in phase two, like maybe it could win. I don't know.
I wouldn't put it out. I wouldn't put it past it. I just don't know. I think like Four Daughters, I think would make it in. 20 Days
Yeah.
of Maripol,
Mhm.
American Symphony, that's three. Maybe still, maybe Beyond Utopia, right? Like
Yeah, and your Midnight Cowboy.
in my Midnight Cowboy one. Um, and then international feature, another popular one. Amerikatsi gets in for Armenia. The Monk and the Gun from Bhutan. The Promised Land from Denmark. Fallen Leaves from Finland. The Taste of Things from France. The Teacher's Lounge from Germany. Godland from Iceland. Io Capitano from Italy. Perfect Days from Japan. Totem from Mexico. The Mother of All Lies from Morocco. Society of the Snow from Spain. Four Daughters from Tunisia. 20 Days of Maripol from Ukraine. And United Kingdom's The Zone of Interest.
Know about Dry Grasses from Turkey,
Yes.
which won Best Actress at Cannes for Marie Ditzar.
Do you think we could have these? So like international feature could be like like 20 Days of Maripol and Four Daughters could double up basically, which I
Yeah,
would say helps them get in for doc. Zone of Interest seemingly is the front runner here based on not
because
having.
France did not submit Anatomy of a Fall.
Do you think Taste of Things will make it in?
Uh, I don't know.
We actually got an email about this. We're going to do a few emails today, but I could do that one now. Let's see, because it's just going to be exactly what I just asked, I think. Well, let's see what it says. With Anatomy of Fall, this is from Eric Joyce, who emailed us at slugfest@goldderby.com. Dear Chris and Joyce, with Anatomy of a Fall out of the running, is the winner of Best International a foregone conclusion this year? Will the United Kingdom inevitably receive an Oscar for the German language movie filmed in Poland, or does the Zone of Interest have any competition? I think that's a little cheeky, right, Joyce? Because there's so many different countries that could stake claim maybe to the Zone of Interest, even though it's a UK production. Let's see. And Francis Snubble, what would have likely been a heavy favor for the Oscar, has me thinking more broadly about the category itself. Is the submission process too compromised by the obscure politics of each country's respective film industry? Does the Academy's more international voting body or the recent success of movies like All Quiet, Roma, and Parasite make the category obsolete? Is there a need to isolate foreign films to their own category when they receive attention elsewhere during the ceremony? Would you personally change anything about the category? This is my favorite category every year, alongside Best Original Screenplay, because it's often an opportunity to award more quirky films. So I'd like to hear your thoughts. That's from Eric.
I think the first thing I would change about that category is for the Oscar to go to the director and not the country.
Yes. I think that's so
So,
silly.
because like the director accepts it on the show, but they don't get to take it home. Unless like the country is like, you can take it home, but they're not, the Academy doesn't recognize them as a winner. It
Correct.
just recognizes the country as a winner.
And then you have people thinking they are winners.
Yes, and they're not, no.
Correct. That's
So that's
always
the first
tough.
thing I would
Yeah.
change.
I would definitely change that.
Yeah. And then it's like obviously the process now is like only one uh film per country, like submission. And I understand why it like back in the day, I understand why like that's been in place just so it's kind of like the Olympics, like you want to cap like certain slots for certain countries so it kind of evens the playing field. But now, I like cinema is so global and we have so many great films from so many different countries and like you probably won't get like, three films from France getting in.
Right.
You know what I mean? So and then yeah, I don't know cuz like, we have like other obviously other awards groups that don't have this rule of like one film per country and like it's they still have like a nice mix and variety of films from different countries too. I guess they don't trust the Oscars don't trust their voters to do this.
I'm sure they don't, and I'm not sure they should, I guess, would be
Yeah,
my
I don't know
take.
how to. I mean, I understand why it's in place, and I don't know if we should eradicate it, but I don't know exactly how to fix it. Like they fixed the voting structure of this category so many times, or fix or change. I should say
Right.
not, but
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it does suck when there's a year like this where it's like Anatomy of Fall would so clearly win.
yeah, and obviously, like when they do choose a film, like sometimes there are politics,
Right.
involved of why they didn't choose one film over the other.
And
So
the other thing that's funny is like I know a lot of people who actually prefer Taste of Things to Anatomy of Fall. So it actually
Mhm.
just might be that that was the in their minds the better movie. I don't know if I agree with that, but I'm just saying like it's not totally foreign that that would have been a choice. Some years there's just two good movies, but maybe then there should be like ability to nominate more than one from every country, I guess.
Yeah, um,
But
I
then
don't
you have
know.
to trust the voters to actually see the movies instead of saying here are like the 20 movies you have to watch.
Yeah.
Do you think Zone of Interest? I mean, with three shortlist mentions, seemingly some of these movies obviously have two. Society of Snow has four. Do you think Zone of Interest is like locked in, or does Society of Snow have something like it seemingly would get nominated here also? Could that possibly win? Even though maybe not, because
Yeah,
Zone of
I think
Interest
it
would
could
probably be a
win.
Best
I
Picture
think
winner, a nominee.
like Zone is the art house pick,
Yeah.
probably, Um, and I think Society is the more like mainstream.
The
Like
good thing with Society is that it's actually not out until Netflix until January 4th. So I feel like it's going to get like a bigger push to momentum at like the right time. Even though it's been out, I mean, you could see it, I think, in theaters or had a moment opportunity to see it. I've seen it in theaters.
yeah, it's hitting Netflix a week before Oscar nomination voting starts. So, but then you're also kind of banking on everyone checking it out like in that first week of January before they're voting over like 6 days, and a lot of things are going down the first week of January.
Are there
So,
really?
yeah.
Oh,
And because like the difference between like this and All Quiet was that All Quiet dropped on Netflix in October and
yes.
people just found it on their own. And
Yes.
that's why we were all so surprised by its shortlist mentions last
Mm.
year.
So is
Um,
there anything here that you were like, oh, they found it on their own then? Nothing really.
no,
This year
nothing.
is
Because
just a
we
little,
were like I said, people were already flagging Society of the Snow as the next All Quiet anyway.
right.
And Netflix has also been promoting it. Like they've been promoting that more like this fall than they were with All Quiet last year throughout the fall.
Yeah. It
You
feels like
know?
they learned from last year.
Yeah. So
Learning, like Oscar Isaac in what's the movie? X-Men Apocalypse when he touches the TV and he's like learning like that.
um did you change anything else overall after this?
No, not really. Only in those categories we talked about where you had to. Uh, like I said, I would have maybe put something else in instead of Zone of Interest. Um, Perhaps Color Purple. I will
Do
say
you
I'm
think like
getting
going back to sound, do you think if we still had two sound categories, it would have gone into mixing?
it. If it didn't, I would say that would be an issue. I think it should. So, yes, I probably would have had it in there for one of these two, right? Because it's a musical and like the music is like that's the best part of the film probably is that like
The music numbers, yeah.
the music numbers are great. Uh I was thinking this today. I'm like this close. I'm not gonna do it yet. I'm this close to putting Barbie in first for Best Picture. I just think I could just like I was just playing it out in my head and I was like, man, Barbie wins Best Picture, Nolan wins Best Director, and like Greta and Noah win Best Screenplay, original or adapted, wherever it is. And that's it. Call it a day.
Wait, you mean Greta and okay, so but
They'll win either adapted or original, wherever it ends
I
up.
know, but I'm just like Barbie and adapted over those other
I think
scripts.
Barbie can win Best. I really think it can win Best Picture, and I just think like the hair and makeup nomination exclusion from the shortlist notwithstanding, I'm like, man, people just love this movie. What if it actually just goes just right to the top and ends up winning?
I still think like I think I'll do very well nomination wise, but I do think there's still some like, like a small faction of people who are not huge fans of it, you know,
Maybe.
and like, it's like commercialism and everything, and it's about a doll. So
As Amy Taubin, the great film critic, said, it's about a fucking doll. That was like her big takeaway
yeah.
to our pal Jordan Hoffman. And I think that even made his review uh, as well. Yeah, nothing else really surprised. And like I said, like, I don't know, Naiad, I was like, again, like, that's a tough beat, I feel like, but it wasn't
Are you
contending
gonna
for
are you
Best
gonna drop
Picture.
Jodie?
So if I do drop Jodie, I'm trying to figure out who I would put in. This is divorced from the short list. I think Taraji would make a lot of sense, but I'm still not sure the movie is obviously being widely embraced by the industry. And I think she has a great shot of getting in at SAG, and maybe enough, maybe it gets in anyway. But I'm like, I don't know. I just really wanted Rachel McAdams to get in, but I don't know how I'm going to make it work. So
Yeah. I I like mm, I mean, you could put your girl Rosamund Pike.
I could do Rosman. I could do America Ferrera again. I just feel like with Naiad, and I mean with Rustin, and maybe this is like, they're both solid movies, and they just feel like they're not really top of, like, no one, like, I don't know if there's a lot of enthusiasm for either one of them.
Yeah. Um,
And they're
I don't think that either of them has ever been uh, heavily predicted for Best Picture, like or
no.
like maybe they've like flirted with the top 15 or something, but I don't think in the top 10 ever.
So
So, and yeah, they both just, very quietly dropped on Netflix in November. And it's like, how sometimes like something can hit Netflix and then people find it like all quiet, eventually they find it themselves. And it feels like that just never happened with either of them. And that did happen with May December, like its opening weekend on Netflix.
it definitely happened with May December, and I'm not one of these people who's like, oh, like the marketing. I love a campaign, but I was not like ever like, oh, without the actors to promote these things, that's a big deal, because I'm just like, I don't think that people care. But I was like, with those two, with respect to the awards, the idea of like both imagining both Coleman Domingo and Annette Bening at like Telluride to launch the thing, and just everybody just being like, they're gonna get in. Everybody kind
I
of
mean, well,
really,
the actor strike ended the week after Naya hit Netflix and the week before Rustin hit
yes.
Netflix. So it's still like good timing for both of them, and
It was
it immediately hit the ground running.
They did, and that was good. But I'm just saying, like, I think with these kind of movies, especially when the movie isn't great or not as much of a contender in other categories, like I was thinking like Judy a little bit, where I was like, that was just like different year and stuff, but it was like, oh, Renee Zellweger's just gonna win the Oscar, and then everybody just kept repeating it, and then she did. And like for this, I was like, for both of them, I think out of Telluride, if it was like, oh, Annette Bening is great, we all love her, it would have just helped like get the get the get the person into the list, and then everybody just kind of repeats the list. And without her there,
But
even though
we
like you
don't want
said,
people repeating the list because
no,
then we
I'm
just
not
get
saying it's
rubber
bad.
stamping.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that's probably why I think in another year maybe they would have had a better shot, but I just don't think
I don't know because I
right
feel like
now.
people were already like neither title was like a surprise, and people were already like predicting them somewhat. Like I think Coleman was probably in the top 5 before festivals in Best Actor,
I think I had him in
and
there
then
last year when we were doing this.
yeah, and um, Annette had that THR cover about
True.
um her charity work with the Actors Fund or whatever it's called right now. That was over the summer, like during the strike when she couldn't promote her projects. And um, yeah, I don't know like how much of a difference them being at Telluride would have made because they would have just like shook those people's hands and it's like, okay, great. And then you could like get this tribute and give a speech.
But I think
But
that helps. Like, 'cause then you're like, oh, it's just like kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy where it's like, oh, of course they're gonna get in, and then they don't. I don't think it matters, but I mean, it kind of does. I guess that's my hot take. It kind of maybe
but
matters.
also like we've also known from the beginning that Best Actress is way
Too
more
crowded.
competitive this
Yeah,
year than it was
it
for Renee Zellweger.
yeah,
So
it's just very crowded.
And Judy made makeup. It was nominated
I know.
for makeup.
Yeah, I might drop Jody, but I'm not sure who I'll drop to put her in. We have a couple emails here, Joyce. I guess we can do before we say goodbye. This one is from Sandy, who writes, "I was just this was I'm so excited. This was like expecting, I guess, the song nominees or whatever, but not a surprise that Ryan Gosling made the list, obviously, for I'm Just Ken. I'm so excited about seeing Ryan Gosling at the Oscars this year as a nominee and performing Maybe I'm Just Ken. Do you think that he will perform at the Oscars? Joyce, what do you think there?
Because he and Emma Stone did not perform City of Stars last time.
So Ryan put out an EP this week, Joyce.
Yes, 3 remixes of I'm Just Ken. Which one is your fave?
Well, the Christmas one, obviously.
Well, yes, of course.
He just loves singing it.
It's also funny how you could just add bells to any song and it's like it's a Christmas remix.
Christmas. Now it's Christmas.
Christmas.
I think he will perform it at the Oscars.
I think he likes this, like the song and
Yes.
everything, and Mark Ronson. And I never felt that about like him and La La Land, and like because I remember him like during that whole season. I mean, he's kind of like a little aloof anyway, but it never felt like he was as into that as much as he's into Barbie and I'm Just Ken.
So
And Mark Ronson also, he Instagrammed the other day about like the history of the song and like the first time he met Ryan, and he had like a short period of time to record in the studio in London, and then he didn't see him again for 18 months, and then like last month Ryan gave him like an award and gave the speech, and that was really like the start of Ryan's campaign, like the first time he showed at an event. It was a great speech too. And yeah, so it was I think, and then like the whole EP and the remix and the music video came about it within a week.
I think you're right, because I think he loves La La Land too, personally, because I love La La Land. So
Yeah, like I don't think he hates La La Land, but I
but
think he enjoys this like Barbie more.
I think he enjoys the singing because it's actually like not serious, right?
Yes, like
Like a
it's
little bit
fun,
of a
and I
goof.
think like he finds this whole process silly.
And it's like the song is silly and he gets
Yeah.
to take it very seriously. And La La Land, the songs are like serious or not silly, even
I
though his
mean, like remember him
performances,
laughing after Envelope Gate on stage, like so great.
he's a fun guy.
Yeah.
I was like watching him this week. I do think he'll perform. I wonder how they'll do it. I was probably because today I was thinking of this today, maybe because I was watching Lady Gaga do Hold My Hand last year at the Oscars, which is just, or this
Of
year at
course
the
you were.
Oscars. The best, just the best performance, best song. Apologies to Film Twitter and Not To, but that should have won. That's a classic song. Anyway, and I was like, she did this like stripped down acoustic version. I wonder if they'll do that like with I'm Just Ken. Like instead of doing like a big lavish number, do you just do like a like
Just him and what, the piano?
him and the piano,
Like,
just like he kind of did here, like with the Christmas version, the video, like a little more.
the In My Feelings acoustic version.
Yes. Uh, that could be good. I also think he could just straight up win Best Supporting Actor. I'm more and more thinking this choice.
Because you want to put Barbie in first, so you need to justify it too.
I mean, obviously that's part of it, but don't you think he could really win?
Yeah, I never said he couldn't win.
No, I know, but I'm like, I really think like, but like, really, he could win. Like, not like we could say he could
No,
win. Like,
I've always
obviously,
said that like he could win the Globe, and
really, he
then
could win.
he, because like I think like that could easily go to him or RDJ, and like we expect Barbie to do well at SAG too, and they could just rubber stamp whatever wins earlier too. So, and then he could win Critics' Choice in between. I don't know, like BAFTA, like maybe I could see it going someone else, like Ki Kwan didn't even win BAFTA last
I'd love
year.
to see. I can't wait to see the BAFTA lists and who they end up putting
The
in.
BAFTA long list. I love BAFTA now because of the juries. And I love that. I want another Best Actress year where they don't match at all, like another 0 for 6.
That would be so good.
Mhm.
This one was from Safia, who's got a question about the Globes, Joyce. The Globes announced their host today. We're
They
recording this. Safi writes, hi, Chris and Joyce. I've been trying to make sense of the Globe's new Best Cinematic and Box Office Achievement Award. Possibly this is a futile effort. I think the most charitable read is that it could encourage studios to keep releasing films in theaters. I also think it's not necessarily the stupidest idea if they scrap the 150 million rule and instead select nominees who truly did something interesting or special during the theatrical run. This could include the highest box office grosser, but also could be the use of innovative tech like in James Cameron films or smaller indie films that break the per theater average records. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't think it should just be about like the grosses, or like there should not be like a minimum gross or whatever,
Yeah,
you know, because there are, very successful like platform releases,
I think,
that never come close to triple digits.
and I think there's a difference between cinematic achievement and box
And
office
box,
achievement,
yes.
right?
It's just,
Uh,
just words, words.
we love Word. This is like the season of words, the icon and creator tributes. This
Yeah, so
one,
many icons and creators at the Gotham
the
Awards.
greatest. The Gotham Awards still making headlines this week, Joyce, thanks to Bobby D.
What incredible interview in Rolling Stone.
Just
And
the
then the
best.
subsequent statement from Martin Scorsese.
Uh, if you didn't see that, I'm gonna just Google this quick. We could do it quickly. First of all, in the interview, Robert De Niro learns what an incel is, Joyce. That was
Hmm.
fun. He was like,
Hmm.
"What's this?"
Yeah.
So in the interview, they asked him about the thing, the speech. We remember this, and De Niro said, "What happened?" This is De Niro to Rolling Stone. What happened was I was working on the speech with a writer, and he gave it to them. And then one of the consultants had put something in the speech about how kids in Oklahoma aren't even able to read the book Killers of the Flower Moon. And then I didn't hear anything, and they gave me the script, and I looked at the prompter, and I said, "What happened?" And then they assumed I had spoken to Marty or somebody about it, but I hadn't. They assumed that I would be okay with it, and maybe I'm still getting it wrong, and I wasn't. Marty and I spoke about it the next day, and he said, yeah, I had sent you a text, and Apple asked if you could dial it down, respectfully.
The next day, respectfully.
And then here's Scorsese's statement. The Gotham Awards honored the filmmakers and cast with the historical icon and creator tribute, which recognizes significant moments in history and for bringing a story to life in an authentic way on screen. We all wanted to make sure that in the limited time available, the acceptance speech had the space to acknowledge our Osage collaborators on stage and at home, as well as our entire cast and filmmaking team. Apple has been a tremendous partner, and there was no censorship. There was an unfortunate miscommunication regarding the final version of the speech. The event was a beautiful moment for our cast and collaborators to be reunited for the first time since the strikes. It was an incredible honor to receive this recognition. That's a great PR statement.
He did not write that. That was his publicist.
No kidding. That doesn't sound like the Martin Scorsese you've seen for
He
50
he has
years in
no idea
movies.
what's been happening. So
So, Gotham
do
Wars.
you believe that the miscommunication?
I kind of do actually, yes, because like this stuff is not as organized as anybody thinks. So I do believe without
No,
doubt.
and I do believe like there's obviously going to be like calls and missed emails. And they're both old. So
I get the sense that this is not the first time this has probably happened, and it won't be the last time. And I think a lot of times people just let it slide,
mhm.
and in this case, De Niro did not let it slide. And
Just no fucks. Like, here's what happened. Yeah.
um, yeah, I don't know. I think they could. I could see them. I mean, the Globes are an evolving award show, so I feel like next year maybe they'll tweak the rules a little differently. It's not a bad idea to do something like this. I agree. I think like doing a per theater average would be fun because then you could be like Asteroid City gets in or whatever, right? Because it's like this is like a significant movie, even if it's not going to get anywhere else.
Yeah. Or, what if they just like do away with the category like they did this year, when they just recombined the supporting TV categories again after just 1 year of splitting them.
I'm not going to read the email, but people were still so pressed about that they thought we made a mistake, Joyce,
No, we didn't.
in
It,
going
it
over the
doesn't exist
Globes.
anymore, guys.
This
No.
doesn't exist. We
Doesn't,
just didn't
and we've
know.
also talked multiple times about how they merged them again.
Yes. Here's one about the color purple, Joyce. This is from Alex talking about the Taraji press the last week here about her wage gap and stuff. This is from Alex. There's been a lot of press recently with Taraji speaking out about the pay gap that Black women in Hollywood are always fighting against. In one interview, she specifically mentioned how she was close to dropping the color purple altogether until they finally met some of her negotiating items. With this with this press starting to swirl around the producers and the fact that this appears to be becoming the most popular news surrounding the film, do you think this could hurt its chances of getting in at the Producers Guild? At this point, if it misses PGA, considering it already missed AFI and NBR and the Golden Globes, I'd say it's almost certainly in trouble in terms of getting one of the few remaining Best Picture slots at the Oscars. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
I don't know if it would affect its like PGA potential, because I think the movie will do well when it opens on Christmas, and like the producers care about making money.
Yeah, I don't think they'd be punitive against. It feels like that would be like a punitive measure against by producers against Taraji for saying she should get more money. But the producers are like Steven Spielberg and Oprah Winfrey, and I'm sure they're going to be like, "Don't do that."
Yeah, and
So it's just like I don't think anybody would take. I don't think anybody holds it against Taraji for speaking out about
no,
making
no,
money.
and like people, I mean, obviously the wage gap exists, and especially for women of color.
Yes.
So I think we know that, and people have spoken at like Viola Davis has spoken about it numerous
Mhm.
times before. She's talked about like how people call her the Black Meryl Streep, but she's not paid like Meryl Streep.
Right.
So,
I,
um,
yeah, I don't think it'll hurt at Producers Guild.
no, I think I like if it gets in, I think it's just because like they like the movie and it was probably successful at the box office, you know. But um I think it can definitely help her like with SAG, like getting in, because with her fellow actors, this appeals to them. This is something that is very relatable too, you
I
know.
I I
So
I when I saw the quotes going viral yesterday, I think I slacked you and I was like, I'm gonna go immediately put her in, and then I already had her in. So great job, past self, for doing that. I think she'll absolutely get in at SAG now, and I think The Color Purple could still definitely get in for Best Picture. I don't have it in right now, but I think it could actually get in just on the support of the actors alone.
oh
I wouldn't be
yeah.
sur- I wouldn't be surprised if it gets into PGA either, though. It just feels like a very broad, appealing movie that has obviously like forget that like the globes like forget the misses just in general the anecdotal evidence that I think I actually believe, judging at least from our screening that we saw too, is that people just love the movie. They're like very excited about this movie, so
Yeah.
why, like when people are seeing it they're very excited as a group. So I feel like that while there are dissenters maybe within like critical consensus or whatever, and it obviously is missing some of these spots where we think it should show up, I don't think I think it still is like a live option for like the 10th slot for Best Picture.
Yeah, like we talked last week after its misses. Um, I mean, or like I think like it can still make SAG Ensemble and PGA, and like that is enough to get it into, like 9 or 10 in
Yes.
Best Picture at the Oscars. And yeah, I think the movie is carried by the performances. Um, and that's it's very appealing. And it's like, a good time in the theater. And obviously it's a very popular and important piece of work, you
Mhm.
know, and beloved piece of work, and people are very excited about it. And I think, most people will like it when it comes out and it'll do well at the box office, and like that can be enough, for whatever other shortcomings, just to get into one of those final spots. Like after we saw it last month, I didn't move it up at all in my best picture lineup. Like I didn't have it. I had it, I think, in like 8th or ninth, and I just kept it there.
Same.
And
And
that's not an indictment on the film. That
no.
was just like I think I said this last month. Like it met my expectations,
Yes.
and like I think there are some, like issues with it. But it's still overall an entertaining film, like great performances, and a good time. So I think it could still get in there,
I
and it could hit
Yeah.
PGA and SAG. So,
I took it out after it missed the Globes because I just felt like that was a bad
yeah,
sign.
I don't have it currently, um, but I can see myself putting it back in before
Same.
January 23rd.
I,
So
I definitely could see that too. And I guess I shouldn't care that it missed the Globes, but again, it's the perception that it should have gotten in. I guess I like hung up on the perception.
Yeah, and it's like the extra slot and it's a musical,
Like it
you
really
know,
should have gotten in there.
like
But
big
like,
big names behind it.
right. Like there's no
Yeah.
reason it wouldn't have gotten in there, it feels like. And I mean, I guess
Yeah.
they just like the other six movies that got in more, but that's a bad to me, that was like a bad sign. That's why I took it out. But
Well, to me, it's not just the Globes miss because you can write it off as a fluke, but it also missed MBR top 10 and AFI top 10.
right.
So it's like it's multiple groups, and it also hasn't really been performing that well. In critics groups, obviously not the same thing as the industry either. But like Danielle is also not even getting that many mentions. We know Davine is just winning most of them, like 98%.
Just
But
steamrolling.
yeah, but Rachel McAdams has some wins on the board, not just LA now. So
I'm psyched for
um
that.
yeah, but so yeah, I don't think Taraji's comments will hurt the movie if you
No. Um, let me see if I got another email before we say goodbye. Let's see. No, that's it, Joyce. This one we could do is about the VFX race. I guess to close it out, since we talked about the short lists. This is from Rohan, who I believe follows me on Letterboxd, Joyce.
Wow.
Hi guys, first time emailing. I've been really interested in the VFX race this year, ever since Dune was pushed back, and without Oppenheimer showing up as well. I think the creator and Guardians 3 are the movies that most people think have the best shot of getting nominated, but after that, who knows? Um, I'm wondering what you guys think the possibility of a lower budget scale film like Godzilla Minus One or Napoleon or Poor Things getting in. Sure, they're not $200 million blockbusters, but they've gotten better critical reception than some of the other movies and have better visual effects, in my opinion, as well. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I have Poor Things at first, so
I have Godzilla in first, so I definitely think those are going to get in. I mean, Poor Things, I think, could definitely win, like you said, just default to like the Best Picture nominee here. Um, I guess the one I keep getting hung up on for me is like, do you have Spider-Verse in or no?
I don't think so. No.
And so like, I think that would definitely be a rarity for it to get in, right? Like it's only happened once in recent history, I guess. Right? Like Kubo and the Two Strings, wasn't that like the only other time in the last like few
I
20
I guess
years?
like I don't know. Well, because it is like the branch, but I don't know. I was thinking like that would like hurt it more if it's like everybody voting. Because I think people are like, that's animation, like what visual effects are you talking about?
Yes. But I also wonder, does the branch think that? I mean, obviously
I
made the
mean, like they
short
could. I
list.
mean, we know how they feel about practical effects.
So I'm
So
like, that's the one I'm hung up on because I think the other, like my other four are Godzilla, Society of Snow, The Creator, and Poor Things. I guess I should just have Guardians in there too, and I could drop Spider-Verse or drop one of these other ones, but I don't really want to. Like,
you don't want to drop any of them, or you don't want to put Guardians in.
it's kind of a mix of both. I thought the Guardians effects were pretty good, frankly. But like nothing we haven't seen before. And like Spider-Verse felt much more complicated, at least from a visual effects standpoint.
I mean, they have new like settings in
Yes.
Guardians, and also a lot of new creatures too, which is also why it's like it sucks it missed makeup.
Yeah, I was actually almost gonna say, like, I actually thought the makeup was more impressive than the visual
Yeah, the
effects in this
Humanimals,
movie.
like it was.
Yes, like
Yeah,
really, really cool. Really great makeup.
I mean, like the first two Guardians made VFX,
I'll
so
put it in then, and I guess I'll take something out. But I don't know what I want to take out.
I mean, I have to take out Dungeons and Dragons, so
Yeah, but you don't have Society of Snow, right?
no, but I could put that in. Or maybe should I put Napoleon in?
I'll take Spider-Verse out. That sucks. It's a tough category. These
You
are
can
tough
you
categories,
can keep
Joyce.
it. You don't need to do this, you know
Well, I
that.
could keep it, but
I guess I'll put Society of the Snow in.
uh I guess that's it, Joyce. So email us at slugfest@goldderby.com, but we will not read it until the new year because we pre-taped an episode next week that opens with a great conversation about better things from Trolls
Not
band
better
together.
things,
What
better
is it
place.
called? Better
Better
Place.
place.
I don't ever have to think about this song again.
Have you even seen Better Things?
I'm just thinking more of the song Better Things by the Kinks. Um yeah, I never have to think about this one again. The Trolls one. Apologies to the NSYNC Hive. we love you and respect your power, but maybe they
But
could
we
do
also if you do listen to that first question, we also explain why
it won't
we're
get
not
in.
predicting it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll listen to that next week. And this is great, Joyce. Talk to you then. We'll come back
Next
in
year.
next year. But first our mailbag episode next week. All right. Bye.